All right, hello, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the early stream time, but I have a conflict during the normal time, so we'll still be able to get in a 2-hour stream here. We're still going to be able to get in a 2-hour stream or so. So yeah, it's going to be great content, I'm sure. But anyway, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting, and also Alchemortis Playtest 4 is live for playtesters. So Alchemortis is a dark fantasy roguelite auto-battler where you use alchemy to create your own builds and synergies. If that sounds interesting to you, you could wishlist it. And if you want to gain access to the playtest that is currently going on right now, you can join on Patreon at one of these tiers. So either tier will get you instant access to the playtest when you sign up, and a Steam key will be sent to the email address that you use for Patreon, and that will allow you to join the playtest. But of course, I have to remind everybody that the playtest is not accessible only via Patreon. So Patreon members get 1 week of early access, but you do not have to pay to play the playtest. Everyone's going to get access to the playtest through the Steam page starting on the 13th. So, of course, I appreciate the Patreon support if you choose to support via Patreon, but it is not a requirement to join the playtest. So I just want to make that clear. And also, I have the Udemy courses available for sale. These teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. This is a great way to support me as well, but it's also a great way to learn how to use Godot, make games, all that good stuff. Okay. Let's say hello to everybody. Hello, Arn Genesis, welcome back. Hello, Clickertail, good morning. Good morning, Chris. Hello, Yito, good morning. Good morning, Jeremy, welcome. Snupbill, thank you for the IDR 10,000, that's very much appreciated, thank you. Always appreciated, very generous with the message. Yummers, look at this. We love it. Good morning, hello, welcome. All right, so you guys have been, well, the people who are Patreon supporters have been trying out Alchemortis, and so far so good. I think the people who have left feedback so far seem to like it. There's still problems, which obviously I expected, but look at all these bugs here. Look at all these bugs. I fixed all of these bugs. Not all of these bugs, but a lot of these bugs yesterday. So I fixed a bug where players would just be left in a bad state after defeating the third boss. I did rebalance the combat a little bit. Let me see if the map is in a good spot here. I did rebalance the combat a little bit, not in terms of the combat difficulty, but in terms of the combat node placement on the map, which this is kind of like a break. Well, is it a breaking change? It's a change that changes the map generation that you have on your current save file. So if you've got a save in progress and you go into the version of the game that I'll be publishing this afternoon, it'll change all of the nodes or all of the node types. Which may be a little bit annoying. That's why I put a little announcement in Discord about that. But when the game is in full release, I won't make those kinds of breaking changes, or if I do, I may warn the player in some way. I don't know. But anyway, why is this not working? I don't understand. Oh, I changed the... Oh, this is wrong. Debug fog reveal radius. This is what I want. So I want to show you, I implemented an algorithm. It's called Kahn's algorithm. It's a topological sort. And basically that's just a way of ordering nodes based on their dependencies for directed acyclic graphs. Anyway, the reason why that topological sort is helpful on the map is because when I have the nodes sorted in topological order like that, I can determine how many jumps there are between each combat node on any path. So I was able to put in a hard cap of, I think it's either 4 or 5. There can be only up to 4 or 5 non-combat nodes in a row that you can visit before you encounter a combat node. And that, because it's in topological order, that accounts for all these branching paths as well. So there won't be a path of 4 upgrade nodes and then there's a combat, oh, but then there's another path going this way, right? So now it is guaranteed that there will not be a string of more than 4 non-combat events in a row. And those are relatively rare. So that's like the max amount. And I made those still possible, but those are rare because there's additional combat node biasing that gets placed on long chains of events or non-combat events. So basically, for every non-combat event over 2, there is a combat bias that kicks in that will just go ahead and like try to break up that chain. But you'll still have some chains like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades there. So this may need a little bit of tweaking, but there are more combats on the map and they are more frequently blocking your access to upgrade nodes. So we're going to try that out. We're going to see what you guys think about that. And I think that's going to be a good change. I was playing with it a little bit last night. I think I'm pretty happy with it. And even when there are long chains of upgrades, like 4 upgrades in a row, you still have the decision making to do of like, well, there's 4 upgrades in a row over on this path, let's say, but maybe there's an artifact over here, or there's a shop here that I want to get to, which means I'm going to forsake this chain of 3, upgrades in a row, whatever. So anyway, I think that's going to be a good change. Do you use Godot signals or C# delegate events? I prefer signals if I can use them because I don't like mixing patterns. Because the Godot signals is just an observer pattern, right? And so I don't really want to mix the observer pattern of Godot signals with the observer pattern of C# events just for consistency's sake, because there's always going to be different ways of registering and unregistering events / signals and like different edge cases that you have to account for. Like Godot signals are automatically disconnected when the node gets freed, right? Versus like C# events, you have to manually unsubscribe from them in a lot of cases. So I try not to mix and match the 2 patterns because I just prefer to be consistent. However, I am using events in certain places, like my base card class. This used to extend to ref counted, so I could emit signals from it, but I removed that because that was causing a little bit of overhead on instantiation. And so I had to move to using pure C# events for this base card here. But this and also the card rendering server, I think. No. Card turn indicator. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure where else I'm using events, but yeah. So I'm unfortunately using both. I don't want to be using both, but how many wish lists do you have and what are your plans for marketing? I think I have like 3,500 wish lists or something. Actually, let's just go take a look at it right now. Let's go take a look at it right now. I've got the Steam. I'm always signed into the Steam backend, so let's see. Wish lists. I can't show you the Steam backend, so I'm just looking at it here. Oh, I was wrong. Alka Mortis, I estimated 3,000. It's actually less than that. 2,200 wish lists for Alka Mortis, but the marketing effort has not started yet. And one of my plans for marketing, that will be forthcoming. That will be forthcoming. I can't necessarily say anything about that right now. But there is a marketing plan and it's shaping up to be very, very cool. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. So anyway, fixed a bunch of other bugs here. I don't think we need to go into all that. So there is one more bug here which I want to fix, which is this Corvid description is wrong when an unlock screen. So I'll do that. Hello, Granger Babe Gaming. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. So this is kind of an interesting bug, and I know why the bug exists, and it's going to be a pain in the rear. it's going to be a pain in the rear to figure out. So let me go back to my project settings. Let's just turn this back down. Okay. So what is the plan here? So if I go to my unlock screen here, oh, I'll get the configuration working one of these days. Ignore unlocks. There we go. Hello, Emerson. Welcome, welcome. Okay, unlocks. The marketing plan is going door to door with flyers. I bet. Can't wait to meet you and say hello. Yeah, I'm going to be shaking hands and doing town halls and stuff. So, but I'm only going to be going to like 3 cities that no one has ever heard of. So if you don't live there, I'm sorry to say that you won't have an opportunity to meet me, but I'm also going to buy a billboard on a stretch of interstate in Iowa. That's my marketing plan. All right, anyway, so let's see. The core bit here is wrong. Echo if the board contains multiple blank items. So this is, yeah, this is going to be a little bit annoying to address. So this core bit description it requires a non-combat ability to be executed, which means that it has to have its state updated. So it has this card data provider here. But the display name, this display name will be null because this card data provider has to be executed as part of this non-combat ability to fill the data. Because this ability could exist on any card, right? And so the purpose of the card data provider is to basically query like which card am I currently on? So that would be the execution context base card, and then I can pull data from that. I can't assume, obviously, that this ability is on the Corvid, right? The only assumption that I can make safely is that this ability originates from the Corvid. So there is one easy solution here, which is that I could just default this, right? I could use a null coalescing operator here and just do this dot, or I could do a card definition resource dot display name, right? I could just do a null coalescing there. So if for whatever reason this data isn't available, I just fall back to the Corvid card definition resource. So that's one option that I can take. I don't know why this is happening. My C# extension is breaking. I'm gonna run around in a city in a skeleton mask and robe shouting, "Buy my gain." I've seen it before. Once you get arrested on the news, it works very well. Yeah, I bet actually. I bet that would work. Have you thought about starting an indie game studio if this game goes well? Well, I mean, I don't know what that means. Like indie game studio, are you talking about like hiring people or stuff? I don't know. I don't like to think too far ahead in the future. Like I don't know how it's gonna go, and I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do if the game does really well. I think that there's a good likelihood that if the game does well, I will just like pocket the money and just like make more games solo. Like I don't have any bigger aspirations to like build up a company and like hire a team and stuff, you know? So I think there's a good chance that I'll just continue doing what I'm doing here right now and just make a different game or Alchemortis 2 or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. My main focus is just let's see if Alchemortis works. Alchemortis is make or break. If it doesn't make any money, I have to go get a real job. And if it does make money, then I can figure it out from that point, right? So I know what to do in the case of failure. What I'm going to do in the case of success, I'm probably going to talk to a tax person to figure out how I can get an offshore account so that I don't have to give a bunch of my money away. But other than that, it'll probably be you know, it'll be up in the air. The old billboard strat, yeah. Not much of an afterthought. Hey, yeah. Technically, you already own a studio, right? I mean, legally, yeah. I do have an LLC, but that's not a It's not a corporation. It's just a disregarded pass-through entity. So I don't have like any like corporate bookkeeping powers, and I can't really hire people that aren't like contractors. So yeah, I guess technically you could say I have like a company, but it's like not really a company. It's just like a piece of paper that says I have a company. So anyway, I wonder if this is just the way to do this for now. Because the thing about the unlock menu is that I think I disabled the contingent board state updates on this. Where is that board? Am I in the right spot? All cards board here. So disable card drop. Wait a minute. Ignore contingent state updates here. So this prevents cards from being updated as a result of being placed on the board. So that basically means that any non-combat abilities are not going to be updated. And the reason for that is because I want these to be like the raw descriptions of the abilities. I don't want, let's say that this ceremonial dagger was adjacent to a poison applying item. I wouldn't want that to like highlight the board and also change these descriptions. Like I want to represent the raw state of the card. So none of these cards are having any of their non-combat abilities updated, but that's the reason why the Corvid wasn't working. But that kind of makes me a little bit uneasy because I don't think I'm going to be able to get away with doing this in every situation where that happens. So I almost wonder if I should have like... So we queue the contingent state. Oh, here's a good example of what I'm trying to avoid. The Acolyte projects the ritual tag to adjacent items. So if it was doing that on this board, it would say that the Abomination was a ritual and the Alembic was a ritual, but that's not the default tags of the item, right? So that would be misleading. So that's why I don't want those abilities to update, but I wonder if there's like a light version of an update that I can do. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I'll just stick with this for now. I think maybe I'll just have to provide defaults in the case where the ability's not being updated. So this is fine for now. I'm not going to make this more complicated than it needs to be right now. Remember also when you become a billionaire? If I become a billionaire, should I buy my Minecraft from Microsoft and then turn it into like a really good game? I actually don't know if anyone can do that. Isn't Minecraft worth like $20 billion or something ridiculous? Anyway, we'll fix that. Okay, so I am going to go on a jaunt back through the master branch because there are some bigger changes that I want to make that I will not be adding to this playtest build. So let me go ahead and I need to go to GitHub, I'm just creating a pull request to merge Playtest 4 back into master. We'll rebase this, git push -f. Okay. And then I need to, I'll get a build started here. I think the dog and the cat are playing. There's some growling happening. Anyway, v0.16.7. So git tag v0.16.7, git tag v0.16.7 cheats, git tag v0.16.7 test. So those are the 3 tags that I need to push to get the build started. I think I've explained this before, but so this normal tag here, this is the full version of the game. So this would be the version of the game that ends up on your PC when you buy it. This cheats version is an internal version that has the debug console enabled, so I can go in and have like a full build of the game through Steam, but I also have the ability to like add items, including God mode, so I can do some testing on the live version of the game. And then this .16.7 test, that's the playtest version. So the playtest, the way that playtest builds work in Steam is that they're actually different apps. They're like child apps of your main app. So they have a different app ID and everything. But also I have some feature tags or some feature flags set for the playtest version. So that has to be a new build, and all of those are here. So I go to project, export. So I've got all of my different game versions here. So this is the standard version, Alchemortis Windows, Linux, Mac, and then we have playtest Windows, playtest Linux, playtest Mac, and then cheats Windows, cheats Linux, cheats Mac. And the only thing that differs between these things really is just the feature flags here. So cheats has the cheats flag enabled, playtest has the playtest flag, and then the normal ones have no flags, right? So anyway, and then I've got separate workflows for each of those based on these tags, and then those all go to the proper Steam apps and the proper Steam branches in a GitHub workflow, and it works very nicely. So that's going to be building in the cloud while we move on over to master to do some interesting stuff. I have to reload this. I don't trust that. Reload. Minecraft, just rewrite Minecraft in Rust. I mean, as long as you keep the Discord and streaming, yeah. There's like plenty of compositions of Minecraft-like games, so it's a very long shot if you do. Yeah. I always thought it would be fun to make like a Terraria-style game. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it would be like Necromancer themed or something. But yeah. Okay. So there's one thing that I want to experiment with, which is just making... I just want to shrink down the map a little bit. And I want to adjust the difficulty to match. So what I can do in my run map generator is I can, let's see. So we have this region height, which is 1,000. So it's kind of weird. The way that it is determined how, let me think about this. So the way that's determined how many nodes are in a region is based on the height and the width. So there's an ellipse for each region, and the ellipse basically is what gives the region that shape where it like starts from one node and then it goes outward and then it comes back up into the stronghold. So if I look at this here, just buy Minecraft, delete the Java code base, and remake the game in Rust. There's Bone Lords, which is more of a roguelite style if you're curious. Yeah, I'll check it out. I will check it out. Okay, so here, so there's like an elliptical shape to this, right? So it starts off narrow and then it goes out to the sides. And so this, you know, this length across is like 600 pixels or something like that, roughly 600 pixels. And then it comes back into a point up there. And then there's a height to each of these regions, right? So basically the number of nodes that exist in each region are based on that width and height and the elliptical shape. So if I need to change how many nodes are in a region, I don't have direct control over that, but rather what I do is I change the region height here. So if we look at the output, we can see that there's roughly 80 nodes per region. There's a slight variance there because of the way that the placement works, but there's roughly 80 nodes per region. But I'm going to shrink each region's height by 200 pixels. And that should knock down the number of nodes that there are. So this is something that I want to do is, so if we look at this now, so now we're down to like 60-ish nodes per region. So we knocked down the number of nodes quite substantially. We knocked down the number of nodes quite substantially. So the other thing though is that I want to keep the enemy combat difficulty roughly the same. So that means I need to increase the difficulty score of combat nodes to accommodate that change. Now the one thing that I'm concerned about is that this is actually gonna shorten the duration of a run, but basically what I want to do is combat is still a little bit too easy, and rather than trying to tweak like the actual ability numbers and stuff, what I'm going to try instead is just reducing the number of total nodes. So that should reduce the number of upgrade opportunities the player has. The player is going to get to each boss fight sooner, right? Because there's fewer vertical nodes to traverse. And if I keep the enemy difficulty the same, so that means that the previous region 1 boss from the previous region height is the same difficulty as the first region boss of the new region height. That means that the enemies are scaling faster proportional to the number of nodes, but I want to keep the difficulties the same between the two versions. And I actually don't know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back to 1,000. I'm going to go to project. Let's go to project settings. We're going to ignore the save file. Let's ignore unlock. Well, it doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, we're going to do show map node tooltips. So this is going to let me know what the score is here. And actually, maybe I should write a tool for this, but this is a score of 944. This is a score of 973. So basically the goal is to keep the score roughly the same. So the first region boss has a score of roughly 1,000. Well, that one was a little bit lower, but that's all right. The difficulty is kind of dynamic. It changes based on the nodes that are along the path. So there's going to be a little bit of variance. Like if there's not a whole lot of powerful node upgrades, then the boss is going to be a little bit weaker at the end. And that may be a system that I have to adjust as well. But so we're looking at roughly 1,000. We're looking at like the 750 to 1,000 range for this boss. Okay, so now if I knock this region height down by 200 pixels, that shaves 20 nodes off of each region. So 60 nodes off the map in total. But now we got to adjust the combat weights here to push them back up so that this is 1,000. So I actually don't know. My elementary math skills are going to fail me here. But if we removed 20 nodes from a roughly 80, so that's like so that's a 25% decrease in the number of nodes per region. Does that mean that I can increase all of these difficulties by 25%, roughly speaking? And that will give me what I need. So we'll turn this one up to 19. 25% here would be... No, I'm not using a calculator in my browser. Oh wait, I knew this one. I was confusing myself. 25% of 30. Oops. Maybe I should have just had Claude do this, but that's all right. 38. Grow board. 17, so that'd be, let's just do 87. Maybe we'll round these so that they're nice and good. This one needs to be 44. This one needs to be 31. This one needs to be 50. I have a feeling this isn't going to work, but we're going to try it. Oops. Stronghold 250. I think I keep this one the same. Okay. Let's see what that does. Have you guys seen that Valve is making their source engine open source? I have not seen that. No. I tried making a mod for Terraria, but the game is so poorly coded it hurts my heart just looking at it. I really don't understand how Calamity Mod does it. It's so hacky. I would honestly rather spend my time refactoring the entire Terraria code base than make a mod for that game. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've heard that, yeah. Oh, Sandbox. Yeah, Sandbox. Gotcha. It's not just their source engine, it's a remade version that turns the source engine into more tools rather than being fixed for Valve-like games. Like the source engine is built for Valve games, but Sandbox just takes the source engine tools and refines them and compiles them together. Also comes with multiplayer built in. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think I would, me personally, I would trust Valve's netcode over anything I would write. It's open source, so people will make modifications anyway. Maybe I'll try it. I mean, it would make a good YouTube video, I guess. Unless, how do you script in that? Is it C++? Fixing some license things so you can just publish without needing to care about legal stuff? Nice. I like to call it advanced Roblox. Advanced Roblox. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we got 880 for the stronghold difficulty here, 930. So did this work? 777. Ooh, lucky numbers. So I think it's going to be less likely that this is going to be 1,000 because again, there's fewer nodes here. So that's probably going to affect it in some way. But I just want to see if it gets around 1,000 there. 685. Oof. I mean, I have a feeling that I just didn't do my math correctly. I don't think it's the case that I can just increase all those numbers by 25% and expect the result I'm getting. because there's this power growth, there's an exponential growth to it. A little bit of an exponential growth to it anyway. I could turn... I could turn the path score normalizer down as well. Maybe that's what I should have done. Would that have done the same thing? Hold on a second. So I'm supposed to subtract 87 from this. Let's just do 275 then. So if I do actually, let's keep 275 in mind. Let's go ahead and stage this. Or stash this, rather. Oh, why did it... I'll figure it out. Why is this restore? My C# project keeps getting stuck on restoring. That's kind of annoying. Anyway, here. Okay. Let's try this. We'll turn this down to 275. Okay. It's C# and has visual coding. Oh. Coming late April. Okay, maybe I'll give it a try then. If nothing else, it would make an interesting YouTube video. Okay, that looks like the change that I wanted to make. So I keep all my weights the same, but I just changed that path score normalizer. But the problem now, though, is that this is probably going to create... Yeah, maybe actually that's not the right thing to do. Okay, so I did turn the path score normalizer down a little bit, which seems to have worked. Although it's a little bit weird. Why is this one 1895, 929? Well, we can give it a shot. All those errors are tooltip related errors. So I changed the region height and I changed the difficulty score. Let's just give it a quick, I just want to get a quick impression of how this is feeling. So we're going to go ahead and just do a quick run here. Maybe at least get to the first boss and just see what this is feeling like with those changes. Ooh. Dowsing rod. Very nice. Grab these upgrades a little bit early. Let's grow left. All right, so let's go Grimoire. Oh, maybe I should have grown the board down, actually. Let's do Grimoire. Okay. Guess it depends on the license and engine and workflow. We'll have to wait and see, really. Swaps the values of blood and dust. Increases the turn cooldown of one random enemy item. Let's do that. Oh, there's another artifact there. Wow. Am I going to lose to this board? Nope. Necrosis kicked in. Very nice. All right. Let's take this guy. I need to start doing some alchemy here. Let's see. I don't need this yet, so we'll get rid of that. I'm going to put this with the dowsing rod. Dowsing rod now has this plus 100% crit chance. So we're going to take that. And then we still have the Grimoire. So we'll just take one skeleton off. We'll put the Grimoire here. We'll go to the artifact. Or the engine overall. Not sure the workflow is accurate. Warden. The combat effects look nice. Thank you. If your board contains only weapon cards, minion critical chances increased by 15%. Let's take the Iron Gauntlet, actually. Take the Iron Gauntlet. Okay, I gotta get rid of that freaking... Grants the following card eyeball, but reduces my maximum health by 5, whatever. It's a health upgrade that reduces my maximum health. Okay, got an eyeball now. Wow. Cool. All right, so far so good. Copies up to 1 poison ability of adjacent items. Let's take... Let's see. Let's do this. We will sell the Death Orchid. We will sell the Skeleton Warrior. We're going to do Eyeball with Axe. Perfect. Okay. All right. I just realized there may be a bug with the eyeball, but that's okay. I use the health upgrade to reduce the health upgrade. Yeah. Okay, we'll go along this path now. The eyeball is not a minion, so we're good here. I kind of want this. Let's take that and put that here. Goodness gracious. I got stuck on a long path. It's fine. We'll make it work. Sell this guy because I don't need him right now. Heal 4 per allied item. Apply 3 poison. That's a weapon. Is that a tier 4 health upgrade? How did that happen? All right, so I kind of got railroaded here a little bit. Didn't have many opportunities to change my path there, but that's all right. The dowsing rod is just applying guaranteed crits. That's so cool. Oh, am I gonna lose? I lost? Oh, because the ox is ramping up. Let's see what happens. Strange man, let's do it. Yeah, so this turn cooldown is not updating when my blood changes. That's a problem. That's a problem. All right, let's try this. I've been pretty busy with work and I've missed a lot of your streams these past few weeks. Did you change it so that alchemy no longer forces you to pick one item from the result? I did, yes. I did. Welcome back, TK, by the way. Good to see you. Ritual and relic. Perfect. Oh wait, that's a ritual item. Actually, the dowsing, I want to put the dowsing rod there. How do I get the dowsing rod down there? Oh no. Shoot, this is no longer adjacent to a minion now though. Here. There we go. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, combat is definitely harder now. Combat is definitely harder now. Is it harder in a good way, though? Rip. Maybe it was fine with this path score normalizer. Maybe just shrinking the map by itself is enough. Let's just try it again. I'll put the path score normalizer back. Let's see if that makes a difference. Dev gets wrecked by his own game, yeah. All right, let's just do another quick one. I want to see how this is feeling. The other thing is that this is going to shorten runs a little bit as well, which I think is probably okay, but... Just gotta make it a little bit harder, that's all. I like that change. It allows you to spread abilities to multiple cards that you're trying to build towards. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's nice. I like it too. If your board contains only weapon cards, I'm gonna try weapon build. Let's just take that early, even though I can't really use it yet. We'll take that early and then, oh, we could put the giant mushroom spore there. Oh, maybe that's not a good idea actually, because it doesn't do a lot of damage. So maybe I'll just stuff that in there like that. Increases fog of war reveal radius. Let's take that one. Okay, now we can see quite far ahead. This is the only way we can go, so we'll go here. Okay. How long is a full run now? I think it's, I don't know, it depends. I think it's kind of around an hour or so. I'm gonna go solo. Good luck fixing bugs and take care. Thank you. Thanks for joining, and hope you have a good day. So yeah, I think it takes around an hour for a run right now, but this is, I actually, you know, obviously just reduced. I obviously just reduced the map size, so we're gonna see. Do I want to go to the shop? I don't have a whole lot of money. But there is a grow board right there. I could go to the grow board through this path, though. Do I want to skip the shop? There's a booster, too. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so we're trying to make only weapons, but I don't I don't have a whole lot of weapons, but if your board contains only weapon cards. Oh, that needs to change. Let me write that down. Let's take the Fist of Anger, that's fine. I need to get weapons. I need weapons. I'm gonna go to the enchant though. Oh, I can't add an enchantment to that one. Reduce that turn cooldown by 1, that's fine. We'll just store that enchantment for now. Probably we'll just skip this because I don't want to change any nodes. And then we'll go to the grow board here. So I'll go here. Oof. It's okay. I think we're going to have to say goodbye to our giant mushroom. Man, I'm not doing so hot here. Banshee head. I may have to make use of this. Let's see. Of course, the Banshee head is the same shape. Well, let's just take the Banshee head. I haven't done any alchemy either yet. All right, let's do this. This has 2 empty ability slots. Maybe we'll just do this with the Banshee's head. Oh no! Oh, no. Do I have to do this yet? Let's see. Okay, I can go to the grow board and then get the booster, and then we can evaluate whatever alchemy we want to do. Let's go left. Okay. So now we'll do the booster. Paralysis and minion cards. Oh, the booster text needs to be updated too. For each unique status applied, apply 4 stacks of that status. Ooh. Okay. We'll take this guy. Actually, let's just sell this. Okay, so now we've got some opportunities here to do some alchemy. So we'll do this. I got a legendary Banshee head. True damage equal to poison damage dealt since last execution. Ooh. Swarm apply 6 poison. Dang. We're gonna have to get rid of one of these skeletons. So we project there, we put this guy here, put that there. Okay. Snakehead whip. Do I want to put the snakehead whip in here? Probably, actually. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Ooh, this might actually... Oh, these have swarm. They both have swarm. Yes, this is going to work. Okay, all right. I'm planning on trying out the playtest later tonight. Excited to try out all the changes since the last build. Yeah, I hope you like it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about it. Oh! Let me write down another thing. Okay. Another snakehead whip. We might as well just take that because that's a weapon. Okay, I'm almost... I just need to get these two things to be weapons somehow. Confuse might need a little rework. Did a little challenge build with a redacted character, and the constraint was that only my starter items had tags that deal damage to the enemy. Wound up just stacking a bunch of buffs and confuse since enemies technically hit themselves. Oh, very nice. That legendary drop hit the dopamine receptors. Good, good. Completely stomped the entire game, never took damage. Okay, well, right now I'm working on hopefully updating the difficulty, but it seems like that's not actually the case because now I'm back into stomp mode here. But this is a weapon here, so maybe if I can get... oh, I just don't have room for it. Okay, let's go to the enchant. Come on, give me a weapon tag. All poison applied is increased by 1. Let's do that. Okay, all right, that was much closer. I think I'm liking this new change. Adds the following ability to allied items. Innate, projects allied... Ooh, okay, okay. I think this is going to become a core part of my build, so let's do this. I have 54 blood now. That's kind of crazy. Apply 6 fire to allied adjacent items. And then we grow board. Let me think about this. So I need more right edge space. I can also get rid of this mausoleum key and put a ceremonial dagger. That gets me closer to having all weapons so I can make use of this. Let's grow the board down. Let's take this, let's see. Let's put this here. I just need the weapon tag on this now. And then I'll be good to go. Okay. I have a lot of money, so let's go to the shop. We'll just buy some stuff out. Fire takes 1 turn longer to execute, but executes 1 additional time. It don't... Oh, enchant. I need that. Let's sell this and then go to the enchant. Adds the relic tag to this card. That is not what I wanted. Okay. Let's just add sell price 5 there and sell that guy. Get some dust back. Item upgrade. Hellspawn egg. None of these are weapons, man. I'm trying to get weapon. All right, let's go. Let's just keep hunting. So I'm just going to try to hit as many enchants as I can to see if I can get that weapon tag enchant. Although there's an artifact there. I want the artifact, but I also want... Okay, well, we're gonna gamble. We're gonna go for the enchant. Let's see what happens. I like the Staff of Velat. Nice. I'm glad you like it. I imagine roguelikes are very hard to balance for difficulty. It's hard to tell if you keep getting lucky unlucky. Are you considering collecting run data to do analysis on win rates? I'm not actively considering that, but it may be something that I have to do. Increase critical multiplier by point... Oh, this has a 0% crit chance, so that would be kind of useless. We might as well just put this one. Increase critical multiplier there. Oh, what am I doing? This could go here and get that adjacency bonus as well. Okay, any other enchants? There's one up there. So how do I get there? Here, here, here. Okay, perfect. Let's do it. My board had 17 instances of Project Confused on Allied on the right edge of the board. So I think one alchemy change that I want to make is because you're no longer sacrificing cards, you're not really losing. The only way that you would lose an ability is if like it gets randomly replaced in alchemy. Otherwise, you could keep like crossbreeding things. So what I'm thinking about doing as a change is like if you... So basically keeping the ability pool finite. So if an ability comes off of a card and gets randomly added to another card, that should be consumed. So that ability should actually come off of the item and move to the other item. So you're not getting copies of the ability, right? So basically when you do an alchemy and you say, okay, I'm going to alchemize all these things together, the ability pool is finite, and so abilities just get pulled from that finite list and added to other items. Or at the very least, whatever ability is randomly chosen from item A to be added onto item B should be removed from item A. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you'll end up in the situation like where I'm in right here, where I was able to get the swarm ability on both of these things just by doing alchemy, which is fun in a way, but I think that maybe there should be some cost to alchemy. like if you're trying to get an ability from one item onto another, that means that the ability is actually going to move from that item to another and not simply be copied over. I think that's probably what I'm going to do, but he was confusing 51 enemies. Oh my goodness. Alchemy's a little bit too deterministic. There's a little sweet spot between broken and not fun. I imagine that's awfully hard to find. Yeah. You really can just handcraft godly items. Yeah, I think I need to change that for sure. Good morning, Ninja Link. Welcome back. I was just doing an orchid to get 4v4 and then putting a honey between two hags and stuffing the board with as many other items as I could. Wow, that's a brand new sentence. You were putting honey between two hags. Has that sentence ever been said before in the history of the English language? Probably not. Anyway. Maybe the only original card's non-innate abilities can be propagated to multiple cards, then have added abilities be only transferable. Yeah, I mean, there's the consideration of like, yes, that makes sense, but there's also the consideration of like, how do I communicate this stuff to the player? So if the rules are like so specific, it'll be hard to communicate like how exactly it's behaving. Okay, come on, enchant. Give me what I want. Swarm, deal 3 damage. Okay, well that can work actually. So we got another swarm on there. There's another enchant up there. I'm just hunting enchants right now. Why not have the copying of abilities be a special occasion so the player can feel the autonomy when it's granted? Like have it as a reagent or something? Yeah, can definitely do something like that. Hello, X-Jokes. How's everything going so far today? Good. Still just trying to wrangle this combat, get combat. Ooh, oh, I actually died. That's great. That's great news, everybody. I was worried I was just gonna stomp through this run. Now I have to actually think again. Now I actually have to think again. Okay. Oh, barely made it out. Barely made it out. Okay, okay. Oh, this is a weapon. Okay. We got a weapon now. Let's get rid of these guys, put that there. I have all weapons except I just need this to be a weapon. Also, I think the necrosis mechanic needs to be reversed. It should deal damage to the player if you're taking too long. No, it can't be reversed because I want to make purely defensive builds viable. Like if you just want to build healing and preserve and armor, I want that to be a valid playstyle because I actually have a character in mind that I'm gonna like bias toward that playstyle. Because if it's reversed, then that's gonna put more pressure on not taking heal or armor items. You know what I mean? Because then it's just gonna be a matter of, well, the best defense is a good offense. I'm just going to maximize my DPS, but I want to give players the opportunity to like just do a build that stacks armor. You know what I mean? Only game devs would enjoy dying in a roguelike run. And I'm dying again here. I'm just taking a bunch of holy damage. I do think I want to rework holy again. I think I want to rework a couple of the statuses. I gotta get the combat figured out though. Grimoire is a weapon. That doesn't help me though, because my legendary here is the thing that I want to keep. Let's do this with this. Ooh. All right, that works. I'll take that. Let's sacrifice these. I don't have much health. Hello, all Pacheco? Loving the game. The art is amazing. Thank you. Appreciate that. Been following your career since Gunforge, but I gotta say way more excited for this one. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. At least if the game dev is crying or is dying, then that should mean everyone is dying, right? Yeah, true. Stacking armor is completely still possible too. I was able to get around where I ended some combats with nearly 500 armor. Awesome, yeah. I think it's because weapons don't have healer armor abilities. You're dishing it out but can't take it. Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, why am I taking so much damage? Oh, the Warhorse dealt 36 damage to me. Oh my gosh. So the Warhorse is basically going and just like smacking me up. And I only have a health pool of 50 because I neglected health upgrades because I was chasing enchants. So, yeah, so this is actually a good situation to be in because I am doing a lot of DPS. I mean, look at all these status effects, right? But because I neglected my defense and my health, it's not actually working for me at this moment. So that's a good situation to be in. That means that it's getting a little bit more... Ooh, that's a weapon. I just need the weapon tag on this person. Come on, come on, give me what I need. May have to think about letting the Banshee head go if I want to make use of this. Son of a biscuit, adds the relic tag. I don't want the relic tag. Let's just slap paralysis immunity on this. I don't think I'm going to win here. Okay, that works. That's not really that useful. Apply 10 armor per allied ritual item. Heal 6 per adjacent minion. How many ritual items do I have? I have 2 ritual items? Yeah. So this will help. Shoot, I actually can't do that. Let's YOLO it with this one. Let's see if I get what I want. Nope, I did not get what I wanted. That's okay. This is just gonna be... Come on, give me the armor per... Come on. So yeah, I'm able to like duplicate abilities pretty effectively through the alchemy system currently, so I'm gonna need to adjust that. Well, I like that the game requires more critical thinking now as you move forward. Yeah, I think it's definitely a lot better. I think I may have to drop my ambitions of doing a weapon-only board here. Reduces remaining turns of one random allied minion item on the bottom edge of the board by 13. Apply 7 poison if this item's turn cooldown is 10 or greater. Let's take that. Is this syringe really doing much for me besides being a weapon? This does have an empty ability slot though, so maybe we can throw the poison from the corpse pile on that. Let's see. Oh, I'm not getting what I want. Oh, and the poison went away completely. So, okay, all right. I have like no defense at all. I'm trying to get a little bit of defense and it's just not working. Okay, well, this is not good. What I may do is I may purchase the fungus just to sell it, so I have some residue to work with. I will say that most of my runs have felt that I needed sources of defense and healing if I wanted to win. I haven't had many instances where I went full glass cannon and had an easy run, but any run that just heavily stacked defenses feel trivial. Trying a run now that will purely be heal defense and going to see how it goes. Yeah, there's definitely some balancing to do. Oh, the balancing is going to be very, very hard. Thank you, Ninja Link, for the Prime subscription. Very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. So Ninja Link, I think you weren't here, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to make the combat more difficult, and the primary way that I did that is I just shrank the map a little bit. So instead of there being 80 nodes per region, there's now like 60 nodes per region. So there's just fewer upgrade opportunities generally. And this is on the master branch, so this is not going to go in the playtest, but I think just doing that has made the game more difficult. But there are still some weird like combat and like ability imbalances that I think need to be addressed, but I'm just worried that maybe the map or the run experience is too short now, but we'll see. I mean, I've been doing this run for like 30 minutes now, and I'm just getting to the second region boss, so maybe it's appropriate. I don't know. Oh! And I do want to make some changes to this resurrection mechanic, so with these combat difficulty changes plus a change to the resurrection mechanic, I think it should just be a little bit more difficult, generally speaking. Okay. I'm not going to finish this run. So I think, I don't know. I think that's feeling good. I actually think that's feeling just about right, the number of nodes there. And the combat is more difficult, just I think just basically based on the idea that I'm getting fewer upgrades total. So that's helpful. It definitely feels like my upgrade opportunities are more valuable, more scarce, but also I'm not gaining power as quickly as I am in the other build of the game. So that's literally a one-line change, but that actually makes a pretty noticeable difference. So that is not going to go on to the playtest branch, though. So yeah, I think there's still, I still need to do some thinking around, like I think poison is still very strong, although I was losing, so I think I'm gonna rename this. So let's reduce number of nodes per region to make combat more difficult by reducing player upgrade opportunities. So that was feeling pretty good because I was very powerful, but I was also dying a lot. So if this is paired with resurrection changes, I think that's actually going to work pretty well. And then I think, like what the malicious rabbit said, I think I need to have Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the problems with like what you said, Malicious Rabbit, of like saying that if you wanted to go full glass cannon, you weren't gonna win. You want to stack defense. I think maybe there's a case to be made that maybe defense stuff needs to be nerfed a little bit, but also there needs to be more synergies with like offensive power translating into defensive power as well. So like healing based on your damage dealt and so on and so forth. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. Like, this is what's hard about this game, is like some of the problems can be addressed by just like adding more synergies into the game, right? But some of the problems require like actually rebalancing things, like tweaking ability numbers and tweaking the map generation and stuff. And it's like there's so many variables to consider that it's kind of hard to dial it in, because it's like which knob do you turn, you know? Like, would the player experience be improved if I just added like 10 cards that have a specific synergy, right? Or would the player experience be improved if I reduced the total number of nodes you can visit, right? It's just, yeah, it's just a little bit hard, but I think it's getting closer. I think it's getting closer to being dialed in. Just a lot of playtesting to do and things to consider. Makes you wonder how some of the most iconic roguelikes are made in less than a year. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do think that there's, you know, there are some roguelikes where it's basically just like a power fantasy, right? Like, I wouldn't say that like something like Vampire Survivors is necessarily that difficult. It's basically just like the dopamine hit of seeing number go up and the progression, right? But I don't think Vampire Survivors or games like that are that difficult. So I think there are definitely roguelites that are like, you know, they're fun just because they're just indulging the player power fantasy, right? But then there are those roguelites which are more strategy oriented, right? Where you have to think a lot about what you're doing. And the problem with those is that, like, yeah, I think it's easy to make the game too hard. So I don't know. Trying to figure out some ways to fix it. Anyway, I have a bunch of random things that I want to address. So I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. And when we come back, we're gonna hop back onto the playtest branch, fix a bunch of these things, and then push another playtest build with those changes. I feel like very few roguelites. I think I'm assuming that means few. Very few roguelites are well balanced. I mean, that's probably true. I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, I don't. I'm trying to think of like all the roguelites that I had fun with. Because there are definitely roguelites and these are the kind of roguelikes that I don't like, where it's like you have to do the meta progression system before you have any hope of beating the game. Like when I play a roguelike and I discover that, oh, I'm actually not even going to be able to beat this until I've like invested quite heavily into the meta progression system, I lose interest pretty quickly because that feels very artificial to me. That's one of the reasons why I didn't like Hades. It's like, oh, so I'm just being handicapped until I just grind through a bunch of runs, you know? And yeah, I understand that it's probably technically possible to beat something like Hades without any upgrades, but it's functionally impossible. And I don't like that at all. So I don't want to make Alco Mortis the kind of game where it's like, oh yeah, it's just hard. It's like really hard, and you have to unlock things for it to become easier. So yeah, I don't know. So I'm trying to think back, like the roguelikes that I think are well balanced are the kinds where like you can beat without upgrades and every run feels unique but still doable, right? That's where the difference of roguelikes and roguelites comes in. Yeah. How would you hook players again to play again after losing? Yeah, I mean, well, like how does Balatro hook players again after losing, right? Because I think Balatro is in that category of game where you don't need to like because like if I'm not mistaken, Balatro doesn't really have a meta progression system. It just has an unlock system, right? That's like a challenge. Like you do certain things, like you beat the boss and you unlock a new deck or whatever. You unlock new jokers based on like getting combos or whatever. So why do people want to play Balatro again? Well, it's because there's stuff to unlock, right? There's like challenges that you can work towards unlocking. But also, like, I think mostly it's just the dopamine hit of getting those combination of numbers that like blows up, you know? And I think Alchemortis fits more into that category where it's like the fun of the game is just like going back in and see if you can like create a build that does big numbers, right? Seems more about the identity of the game rather than a mechanical thing because both ways are valid. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't really think there's much of a point in debating the difference between roguelikes and roguelites. I mean, everyone knows what you're talking about with when you say either of those terms. They're just like, you know, games where every run is different and they're kind of emergent and they may or may not have meta progression systems. But anyway, the term is so broad. I mean, it's like it's a genre, right? It's like saying, well, maybe I don't have a good example, but anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break and I'll be right back and we will continue on with some fixes. Okay, I'm back. I think more so, how do you hook players after they've won? Yeah, that's a good consideration. I mean, there have been some people, like the Malicious Rabbit, who have played just the playtest build already for many hours. So there's obviously something in the game that, like, look, if Alchemortis is the kind of game where people play it for 7 to 10 hours and then they say, that was a fun game and now I'm done with it, like, that would be fine for me. Obviously, I want to create a game that has a lot of replay values, that, you know, we get a bunch of people who put like 100 hours into the game. That would be nice, but there's obviously something here in the game that keeps people playing even with the limited amount of content that's there. So that's something that I'm not totally worried about. But yes, I do definitely want to do more difficulties and more boss. Like, there's going to be just more of everything. So there's going to be more... There's going to be more difficulties, and I actually started thinking about that last night, and that's probably going to be the next major system that I work on, is what does the difficulty system look like, and what does it look like when you go up in tier of difficulty. So that's going to be another consideration to be made. But yeah, there's definitely going to be more bosses, there's going to be more characters, there's going to be more artifacts, there's going to be more items, like all of those things. There's just going to be more of everything that already exists, plus the new, like, difficulty tier system, whatever that ends up being. People get wrapped up in the pedantics, yeah. Can unlock new classes, yeah. I mean, that's already in place to a degree. There's multiple playable characters right now, so that's good. I keep coming back, but alas, work calls. I want to try new builds. So that's good. I thank you. I appreciate that, and I hope I can preserve that even if I'm making changes to the balancing and stuff. So, hello, Celestial Beagle. What have I missed? We're just doing some combat balancing. We were doing some combat balancing. Now I'm popping back over to the playtest build, and we're gonna modify some things. So, language, pass, Hands of the Fallen, references, cards, booster, text, combat log, okay. Let's fix all this stuff. These are just the things that I noticed. Only weapon items. Items. Okay. So we fix that. Booster. Items. That needs to say items. And then let's go to the map node tooltip. Items there. Okay, and then the combat log. What damage there? Okay. Okay. Remove references to cards. Alrighty. Anyone know if there's a way to read the screen to a shader while omitting certain nodes or permitting? I know there's a visibility layer property on nodes, but I wasn't able to figure it out. I do not know, I'm sorry. I do not know. How does Godot handle text translations? Yeah, again, I do not know. I think there's a whole translation system built into Godot, but I've never used it, so probably we'll have to use it for this game. Okay, so let me do something really quick. I just put that on the master branch, that change that I just made. Is that what I wanted to do? Did I do that wrong? Oh well. Why do I have so many restores happening here? Okay, anyway. So the next thing that I want to figure out, and we're not going to be able to figure this out on this stream, but the resurrection rework. Oh, I actually already did this, so we're good. I'm going to delete this, actually delete that. Okay. So we do need to rework the resurrection. Backlog. I do want to start thinking about the difficulty tier system. So here's what I was thinking for the difficulty tier system. Let's see. I was thinking each tier adds some kind of map condition. So we'll do each tier add some kind of map condition. So negative map node. Well, we could do like a map node debuffs. Enemy patrols. So I'm thinking like just every tier that you go up, something happens to the map that makes it just a little bit more difficult. So rather than like scaling the enemy difficulty directly, which is something that I'm going to do. But maybe not at every tier. So maybe something like that. So we have like map node debuffs. What I mean by this is like every node in the map will have like one negative side effect to it. So it might be something like reduce your max health, or it could be something like start combat with half health, or it could be something like a random card is exhausted when combat starts, something like that. And it would just have like a whole pool of negative map abilities, and just randomly assign one to each one. Or instead of every node having that, it could be like 20% of nodes, right? Something like that. And then with enemy patrols, those would introduce like elite fights, which could be static to start, but travel at higher difficulties. So we got enemy patrols. Those would be like mini boss fights, which would have a reward with them. But I kind of like the idea of introducing like new content into the map based on which difficulty you're playing on to keep it fresh. So like instead of playing the same map every time and it's just harder, it's like the map generation is largely the same, except now you're on the tier 3 difficulty, and all of a sudden enemy patrols have showed up, right? And now there's like a unique mechanic associated with that, and maybe unique rewards associated with that, right? How much percent done would you say Alchemortis is? I don't know, maybe 60%, 65%, something like that. I think, you know, from here on out, there's not really a whole lot of major systems to be built. From here on out, it's just going to be a matter of balancing and tweaking and content. This is going to be like the last major system, this difficulty tier system. And then it's just content from that point onward, translations, Steam achievements, all that kind of stuff. Congrats to the playtest. Is it public? The playtest is not public yet. It will be public on Monday of next week, on the 13th of April. But it is available for Patreon subscribers, so you can head on over to the Patreon and subscribe if you want access right now. Balatro style, I like it, yeah. Do you use the native audio system or do you use Fmod or something else? I just use the native audio system, yeah. I'm not experienced enough with sound design or sound engineering to know how to make use of Fmod. So I just stick in with the Godot built-in stuff and it works fine. Time for polishing, yeah. So anyway, if anyone has any ideas on what the difficulty tier system would look like, in terms of like how the map could change, maybe new event types. New event types can appear at higher difficulties. Yeah, something like that. So I'm thinking, you know, if there's like, I'm gonna have to look into, I'm not super familiar with Slay the Spire's like Ascension stuff, but, you know, I don't know how many tiers there are gonna be. Maybe there are like 5 difficulty tiers or something. And you unlock the next difficulty tier after beating the previous difficulty tier. And then, of course, there could be things that could only be unlocked by beating certain difficulty tiers, like a character or whatever. Something like that. 10. So yeah, it sounds like the system that I'm kind of thinking of is very similar to the Slay the Spire Ascension system, where like something changes, like one thing change every time. And I'm assuming these stack, right? So there's more elites on Ascension 1, normal enemies are deadlier, so there's more elites and normal enemies are deadlier all the way up to here. So yeah, maybe before I go too deep on combat balancing, maybe what I need to do is like start introducing the difficulty tier system, and then, because I think the first, like the normal vanilla mode should probably be relatively easy. Like, I think the ideal situation would be the vanilla mode is not beatable until you play a couple of runs. Not because there's some artificial difficulty, but because it takes a couple of runs to figure out how the game works. It takes a couple of runs to like unlock more items for your pool, for your loot pool, all that stuff. So I think ideally what I would, the new player experience, what I would like to see is like new player loads into the game. They don't have any idea how the game works. They start, you know, moving around the map, putting things on their board, not really making use of synergies, and maybe they die halfway through region 1. But they made a couple of connections. They said, oh, this thing synergizes with this. Oh, and the alchemy works this way. Okay, so they go into their next run and they say, okay, now I kind of know what to expect. So maybe they make it to the first boss in region 1 and they die there because they're still not like optimizing their synergies very well. But they go, okay, that was close. If I had done this X, Y, and Z differently, that would have been different. So they go again, they beat boss 1. Okay, they make it a good point into region 2, or maybe they beat the region 2 boss. So that's kind of like the new player experience that I want to exist. Of course, many of you already understand how the game works, so when a playtest build launches, you just, beat the first run very easily. But yeah, so I think that generally for a player that knows what they're doing, you should be able to beat a vanilla run with a good amount of reliability. But then the difficulty tiers will ideally push you to have to think very, very carefully about what you're doing. That's the experience I want to create. How to create that experience is the trouble. That's the hard part. So far, my funnest run by far was my Skeleton Dragon Werewolf run. It really felt good to pair all the Echo stuff together to get more wolves. Then I paired it with the Lifesteal artifact. Oh, nice. Yeah. Slay the Spire 2 now has 10 Ascensions. But I just finished my heal run. I was indeed immortal. As far as resurrections, why not make a map node where you can sacrifice cards as you do now to stock up on lives, then limit resurrections to 1 per battle? That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, I think something needs to happen with the resurrection, because I think the problems with the resurrection are players are taking cards just as resurrection fodder, which is a problem. The enemy health is not reset after the resurrection, so you're basically just increasing your effective HP pool. Being able to resurrect multiple times. Now, I think I will keep this. If we go to having a lives system, so if we go to a live system, then yeah, I would keep the enemy health wherever it was when you died. So I guess I already had this written down. Maybe add an event to gain a resurrection. So we make resurrection an event on the map that you can optionally take if you desire. Yeah, that's probably a better approach. And that again goes to the combat balancing too, because a lot of the reason why, for example, I can make it through a run is because I can just resurrect a bunch of times and get through a boss fight. But if that is limited now, it's going to become a lot more about the build itself. They all stack. Good. I think there should be as many run modifiers as possible. It's arbitrary, but I find they give more incentive to keep playing. They don't all need to be game-changing and unique things. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think there will be a mix of just random, debuffs added to nodes, or, a new mechanic gets introduced into the map. I could just borrow Slay the Spire's Ascension mode where it's your starting health is reduced, or maybe make alchemy cost more dust or something. But I think this difficulty tier system, this should probably be the next thing that I work on. Actually, maybe the resurrection rework. Maybe the resurrection rework would be the best thing to do. I think this is the biggest problem in the game now, aside from the combat balancing. But this is kind of related to the combat balancing, because I think the impression of the combat difficulty will change a lot if you're not allowed to resurrect basically as much as you want. Yeah, I think it'll work. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to think about. But anyway, let me tag this. 16.8. 16.8 test. Okay. All right, well, I have a contractor coming to the house in a half hour or so, so I need to go get ready to work with them. Is phylactery a Wizards of the Coast trademark thing? That's what I'd call those lives. I already have a phylactery in the game, and no, it's not trademarked. A phylactery is a generic thing. You could argue that Wizards of the Coast stole it from someone else. But anyway, I know I bring it up a lot of problems, but the game is really fun. Even in its current state, I would gladly pay $10 for it and leave a positive review. That's 10 hours of playtime, felt like 3. Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy about that. And the game's only going to get better. So I hope that you feel even more happy to spend your money on the game over this next couple of months of development. It's getting there. We're going to dial it in. And like I said, the game is not going to be released until I'm confident that every system is working well to create the gameplay experience that I want. And if that means that the game needs to be delayed until later this year, that's what will happen. I don't want that to happen, but if that's what's required, that's what's going to happen. So I'm not gonna do what I did with Gunforge, which is basically like, well, the game has problems, but it's good enough, release it. Like, I want to... Alchemortis is the best game that I ever made, and it might be the best game I ever make, so I want to make it as good as it can possibly be. Like, squeeze as much potential out of it as possible before it gets released. And we'll see how that goes. We will see how that goes. Thank you, Clickertail. Contractor is such a generic name for someone who does something quite specific. A lot of jobs require contracts, right? Yeah. Well, in the context of home ownership, a contractor is somebody who comes and does something to your house, good or bad, who knows? You're kind of rolling the dice a little bit. But anyway, that's going to be it for the stream. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for being here. Again, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam, and the playtest is currently live for Patreon members. So if you want, you can head on over to the Patreon. If you subscribe to one of the 2 tiers, a Steam key will be sent to your email that you use for Patreon, and you can use that Steam key to get instant access to the playtest right now. The playtest will be available for everyone, though, starting on Monday, so you do not have to support the game financially to get access to the playtest. Everyone is going to have an opportunity to playtest it. The 1 week of early access is just a little perk for Patreon members. So I'll also be releasing a new devlog for the game when the playtest goes live. Of course, I'll be posting announcements on Discord and all that stuff too. But yeah, I think tomorrow maybe we'll start working on that Resurrection overhaul. Well, I might do that this afternoon, but we'll either work on the Resurrection overhaul on tomorrow's stream, or we will start working on the difficulty tier system. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thank you all for watching. And why is it the best game you will make? Are you not planning to keep going? I am planning to keep going. We'll see if I come up with an idea that is as good as Alchemortis. We'll see. We'll see. Looking forward to Monday. Yes, indeed. All right. Take care, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.